What is going on, everyone? My name is Northy and welcome back to another Thursday Teamcoach preview slash review. Really excited once again to get stuck into this one. But first, I want to say thank you very much. We have just hit 4,000 subscribers on the channel. Super cool to be at this point. Really happy that we've hit another little milestone here and there on the journey to bigger and better things. And I am very thankful for the point that I'm at the moment. And I really hope that this can continue to head on and we will keep smashing out milestones like this. My big goal is 5K by the end of the year, and I'd love to go even further. I had a really unrealistic goal of 7.5K this year. I think that was my big goal. If I got to that, I'd be super happy, but I'd be more than happy with 5 as well. And I'm just very thankful to have the opportunity to do this stuff for you guys and do it with a little bit of, I guess, livelihood to it. It's becoming more and more of my life and more of me, I guess, Northy in the pack openings and all of that. So I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to do so. And I am hopeful that we can keep it going and I can keep entertaining you in as many ways as I possibly can. So with that all being said, we don't want to get too in the moment. Let's have a look at what our round 12 has looked like and what our round 13 is going to be. Of course, however, be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you want to see us get to 5K as well. It would be so appreciated if you can jump on the train as well. Let's see though, what did we do in round 12 and how are we looking for round 13? So here we are, this is the home page. You can see here, this is what the best players for round 12 ended up being. And if you would like a more up-to-date and more easy to access best scores of the round, be sure to follow me on Instagram at NorthyAFL. I've been doing that every Tuesday to give you guys an idea. 1, to remind you who the best players were, and 2, to give you an idea as to how we look at our team coach games. So hopefully you guys will give me a follow over there and it'd be very much appreciated, but we're not going to go into too much of the plugging. Let's have a look at, firstly, our fantasy forecast. This one is probably the one we put the most effort into last week, or at least it's the first time we put a lot of effort into it. Let's have a look at round 12. All of these are round 12, damn near the entire page. And you can see from top to bottom are the closest ones. We nearly got Brian Myers. We nearly got number 1 overall, and that is what gives you the prize set. So far, I've just gotten Lockie Whitfield. Still waiting on the card, so I'm a little worried about how that's going, but nonetheless, rank overall number 2 is not bad. And then number 3 for Max Gawn as well. You can see our margins here, only 6 points. So very unlucky that we didn't get that one. Meanwhile, we were 35 off for Grind, so clearly not many people expected Grind Mice to have this good of a game. So the fact we were that close with 35 is fantastic. Maxi Gawn, however, that close to be 3rd hurts. Shows you how hard it is to get it right on the money, and when you do get a number 1, you gotta be grateful for it. So a lot of entries, and you can see here it goes as far down as 85. We were really far off when it comes to Jeremy Cameron. 51 off for him, and he ended up being the 2nd highest. James Sicily actually was the highest off. We got his tackles right and his goals right, but 3 off his marks, 12 off his disposals, 53 off of his fantasy points, so that's what makes a margin. Sicily just had a very poor game. Unfortunately, it seems to be due to an injury. That's where most of it has come from, so very unfortunate. However, the hope is that he will heal up, get himself a little bit better, and we'll be able to use him again, hopefully, in a more, I guess, output or better output type way. So, all of that being said, positives and negatives, we don't really think about it too much. I'm not going to put too much thought into it at the very least, because we've already put in a load for round 13, and the hope is we can get lucky in the next round, and if not, then the next round. To give you an idea, this is how many I have at the moment. Look at all those players, all those teams. I have a lot to go through, and it's been purely just off of opening packs, entering breaks. That's where all of this comes from. That's where every single one of these comes from, and realistically, I could chuck in a few more if I really wanted to, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Nonetheless, very close this week for Fantasy Forecast, and I'm hopeful that next week is our time to earn a prize set. It's always nice when we do so. Let's go to top team, however, and this was a really tough one. The only one that felt easy to do is the ruck, because Tristan Sherry is coming up against Matt Flynn. I don't think Matt's going to have a great time. So hopefully Sherry really capitalizes off of that mismatch, but we'll see how it goes for the rest of them. Whitfield is one that I'm so nervous about because he could go forward. There's a really good chance. They've been moving him around a bit. This may change. When the teams come out, I may make changes. Bailey Smith has been consistent in the 120s to 140s, so I'm really keen on keeping him in for as long as possible. Dawson is the obvious other one. And then forward line, I went with Luke Jackson last week. It worked out really well, and now he's got his bye week. Of course he does. So Isaac is getting another go, and this was a really tough one. So he's averaging the most out of the forwards. He's up against Brisbane, and they're not a great matchup for him. He's going to have a tough time. And then I look here. Geelong, obviously, they all came up against West Coast, but do I really think North Melbourne is going to have a great forward line game? Maybe Paul Curtis. Cam Zohar can do okay, but he's not one of those massive stats grabbers. He doesn't do all that. Realistically, my thinking is maybe Sheasel will be that guy. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Nick Larkey, hopefully he kicks a lot of goals, but I don't trust him enough at the moment. Yeah, it's just Sherry. Sherry is the only one right now that I really trust to utilize that game. On the other hand, you've got things like Richmond and Sydney. That's going to be a really interesting game. That's going to show how off the mark Sydney are right now, because Richmond, they should be able to have a good game. I'm just not sure on Sydney who's going to burst out. I mean, Heaney and Warner are the two obvious ones, but they really haven't been up to standard, and I don't know whether it's going to take a game against inexperienced Tigers to get themselves a win. Oh, it's such a tough one. I don't think there's any forwards who are going to have a fantastic game. I look in the back line, and they will definitely get themselves some good stats because Richmond are gritty and they know how to play, but there is a very good chance that they just bomb it and Sydney are able to work it out and get themselves some possessions and disposals and clean play going against this inexperienced Richmond team. So the back line is the biggest worry, but if we have a look here, we go to search by team and Sydney. Blakey and Callum Mills, who is coming back, but off of a poor game. Look, they may need him. They may need him. But I don't know if it's the smartest option. I'm not willing to take that risk in top 4. So this is what I've gone with. Obviously, last week, we had ourselves in here Luke Jackson. We had Max Gawn here as well. We also had Dane Zorko. That latter position ended up giving us rank 55. That is honestly not too bad at all when it comes to the likes of top 4. It's very hard to do so. 30 points off the top. That is a pretty good outcome. Gawn didn't have a fantastic game. Realistically, there were better ruckmen. You saw in the round preview, Brodie Grundy was the best one. That was quite weird to see. But season average, Max Gawn outside of Tristan Sherry as well. I don't even think Sherry's the highest at the moment, but last round, Brodie Grundy. There he was. We did manage to get number 3 at least with Max Gawn, but Grundy, he was up there in the likes of the midfielder position. There was Hugh McCluggage, Jordan Dawson, loads of players last round. Nick Dacos even jumped back into his usual favours alongside Steele Sidebottom. Crazy stuff. Loved that game. 4-star though, this is what we're going with. 18-star. You'll see some names I mentioned before. Harry Sheasel. I'm going to put him in there. Ed Richards comes off of bye as well. So he's going to be one that I'm really excited to chuck in the back line. The biggest risk in this back line is Trent Rivers. Up against a Collingwood side that really could do some damage, but at least he's off the half back line most of the time. He should get himself around the ball. That's the hope. That is the hope. And maybe even Melbourne are up to standard again. They could give Collingwood a test. We don't know just yet, but it is going to be up to the situation. Does Trent have what it takes to play his part and really smash it? We'll find out. Midfielders, we're putting Nick Dacos back in. I think he took, I can't remember who he took off the top of my head, but nonetheless, he was not in last week. He's in this week. We're going to have a go with him and I guess put our trust and faith in him again. I'm trying to think who's on the bye. So St Kilda and Fremantle. Caleb Sarong could have been in there. I don't think it was Caleb Sarong. But nonetheless, Dacos is there. Smith has been in for a while. Merritt's been pretty good all season. Dawson, of course, having a potential Brownlow season. And Connor Rozee, he's come in off the bye. So that's going to be a fun one. I know he's been playing off the halfback a lot more as of recent, so Connor Rozee could find himself some nice touches in and amongst it. Fingers crossed for that one. We go to the forward line, and last week, Brian Myers and Jeremy Cameron, fantastic duo. I think a lot of people expected Cameron to be the best. Myers was the best Geelong player last week. Rankin's always pretty safe. Thilthorpe, I think, can really have a big game this week, purely because Brisbane's lineup, look, they've got Harris Andrews, and he's going to be a very, very tough matchup if he goes to Riley. But other than that, Payne's pretty good, but obviously they've got 3 tools usually. Tex, I don't know if he's playing, not off the top of my head, I don't remember. Darcy Fogarty, he's obviously pretty good too, and if you let him go, he's going to be a problem. They've just got a lot of tools to work with, and I don't think Brisbane have the best matchups in terms of Adelaide to Brisbane forward to back. It's going to be an interesting look. It is a bit of a risk, but the hope is it all works out. Toby Green also gets in there again. I think he has been consistently pretty good all season, and Jamie Elliott, he's had a fantastic season so far. He really is a bit of a smoky for the Coleman medal at this point. He is having a fantastic season, and health has been on his side finally for Collingwood fans. So good for him to be healthy. Jamie Elliott, I think he's 5 or 6, something like that, against Hawthorn. So really big game from him. And coming up against Melbourne, he definitely could do it again with the amount of threats Collingwood have. Jamie Elliott absolutely could be a really big problem. But looking at last week, we managed to get ourselves rank 104. So we didn't manage to average. That's usually the safe bet. If you average 100 per player, then you end up getting yourself a prize card. And we just didn't do that. And I hate it when it happens. It really is frustrating, but nonetheless, you just got to live and learn. It has been a tough year for top teams so far. I don't think I've won a single game so far, or had a single top team prize card so far this year. Really, really hoping that this is the week it changes. It has to change, or we've got problems. Nonetheless, we are going to move over to Star Powers. Now, Star Powers is a very, very straightforward week. Last week, we had ourselves some different players. So obviously, we had ourselves Jack Sinclair. He was a good pick. No problems with that at all. We also had ourselves Maxi Gawn. Not a bad pick either. This was our lineup. I wasn't mad with it. I really wasn't too angry about it. But again, you just have to have the best lineup, and we didn't. It was the only problem we had. 38 is really good. It's really good. It is just under, or just over even, 30 points away. But we still couldn't get it. That is how tough Star Power Silver is, and we've had a couple of wins with Silver Star Power, so it's been a really strange season. Really, really strange. I'm hopeful that it works out for me again, and you saw before, this is what we're going in with. Sherry. I'm so glad we've got his Ultra. So glad, because I feel like this is the week that it really pays off. Really, really pays off. Connor Rozee in the Silver now. Again, as I said, he's been off the halfback and really racking up possessions, so the hope is that that will happen again for our Silver Star Powers. And Dawson, we've seen that he's having himself a Brownlow potential year. Really, really good. We've got a Silver in there. Same goes with Rankin and Ashcroft. They're just the best choices we've got at the moment. You look here, Isaac Rankin, season average, highest. I don't think he was best last round, but he was 3rd at least. Yeah, Myers, fantastic game again, up against West Coast. The hope is Rankin gets himself some more midfield minutes. We'll see how that goes. But Will Ashcroft, so last round, best for the best out of the players we have at least. And then season average, also the best. There is no reason not to pick Will Ashcroft in that spot for me at the moment. He just gets himself a lot of chances in that midfield for Brisbane. So, that being said, what does our Team Star Powers look like? It looks the exact same. It is the exact same players, and I'm so glad that I am at this point. Again, having double point Sherry is amazing. It is so good. Second best would be if we had Max Gawn, Team Star Powers too, but I'm happy with one of them. Connor Rozee as well, we managed to pick up his Team Star Powers in a pack opening. One of the best packs I may have ever pulled this year. Has been very helpful. And Jordan Dawson, that neon Jordan Dawson has worked wonders. Because I may not have his team, but that neon looks beautiful. It looks fantastic. Maybe even a Brownlow medalist neon. Not a bad effort at all. So, like I said, really high hopes. Really high hopes for Team Star Powers. Last week, I'll show you what it looked like. It had ourselves Jai Newcomb in the team and Luke Jackson in the team. This is what our lineup was, and we ended up getting ourselves, for the round, 695, rank 112. It all purely, unfortunately, came from Jai Newcomb. 63? I think 63 is pretty accurate to what he actually had. So, we would have been better if we just put Silver Hugh McCluggage in. Dead set, would have just been better. So, very annoying. Very annoying. And we could have put Isaac Rankin team in. Would have been even more helpful. Unfortunately, just not the way it goes. Thankfully, this week, we're not relying on him. We're relying on Connor Rozee. Fantastic stuff. So this is how we are looking. I'm very, very happy with our Team Star Powers lineup. This should be a winner. I'm going to be extra confident this week. I never usually shoot my shot or call the shot as it happens. I never usually do that, but I think this is it. If there's any week to win, it's this one. You can come back to this and make fun of me if I lose. This is a winner. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. It's got to be. With the way that the week is looking, this should basically do it for me. Hopefully 300 points from him alone. That's really the big hope. Matt Flynn, if you somehow stop this man, I'll be so annoyed with you. I'll be so frustrated. Watch it happen. Just watch it happen. Let's go to team coach tips, man. Let's see what we've got. Have a look at the ladder last week and see what we did. We got 5 last week. It's okay. Nothing too crazy. Let's see. We are really far off the season points. Fantastic. Not happening anytime soon, but we did manage to get ourselves 5. We're not far off the top. Could be worse. Definitely could be worse. But yeah, 5 out of them. It's just how it goes with tips. I'm not great with them. We're going to move on to who have we got for round 13. Bulldogs versus Hawthorn right off the rip is going to be interesting. This one, I think most people are tipping Dogs. I tend to agree. I think the Dogs are going to take this off some rest too. Hawks are going to be without Sicily, and despite how poor his play has been, without having a captain, it's going to be tough. And you look at the matchups. Look, Collingwood was so good against them that a lot of people will probably overlook them. But the Dogs have been just as gritty as teams like Tigers, but they also have the talent on top of it and the experience. I think Dogs, I've said it a lot, I think they're smoky potential this year. I really do. Lots of potential smokies though. We move to Adelaide versus Brisbane. This one is also very interesting. It's at Adelaide Oval from what it looks like. This is gonna be a fun one. I'm so excited to see how this one turns out. I'm tipping Adelaide. I think they are a fantastic side. With matchups on their, on the edge too, I really think it could go well for them. We'll just have to wait and see, man. We'll just have to wait and see. Adelaide, don't do me dirty. Richmond versus Sydney now. This is going to be fun. I think there is a world where Richmond beats these guys. I think I said it against Essendon, and what ended up happening was Essendon's poise. Again, I come back to experience a lot. The way they play just showed that Richmond isn't there yet when it comes to really taking into the game long term. A lot of young guys in there who are thinking so much in the moment that a minute a goal is scored on them, they combust. They don't know what to do. They kind of go back to the basic skills of, kick it long and get it out of there. Basic stuff like that. So Essendon did expose that a little bit. Sydney, however, they've been poor. I'm gonna go Sydney's way. I am gonna go Sydney. But again, I see a world that Richmond win this. I really do. Geelong versus Gold Coast at GMHBA. Now, I don't know how this is going to go. This is obviously a situation where it's such a Gold Coast game to win, I feel like this one. When they've just come off a loss against Fremantle, really could go either way. Obviously, GMHBA is a different world. It's a different ground. It's going to be tough to play at. But I can just see it happening. But I don't think that's enough for me to tip away from Geelong. Really good form as of late. Fantastic play. They're one of the only teams to beat Collingwood this year. That's one thing I always gauge off because Collingwood are bloody good this year. Geelong, however, I think they're going to be too good. Although I think it's going to be a close one. That's going to be a fun one to watch. GWS versus Port. Unfortunately for Port, I do not have much faith in them. But it seems every time I say that, not GWS, but someone else, the team that they're playing, completely folds. So look, Port could definitely win it. They've got talent. They've definitely got talent. They're just in a very poor stretch of form. I'm going to go GWS. I think they played well enough as of recent to earn a nod. Earn a bit of respect on their side. Now this one. North versus West Coast at Hands Oval. This is going to be such a dead crowd. This is going to be such a tough one to watch. It's 18 versus 17. Again, this keeps happening between these two sides. The poor buggers. I am not excited to watch this one. I am going to watch it. I may stream it if I can, if I have the time to. I've got to tip them. I've got to do it. It went well when I tipped them over Richmond. So can we make it 2 for 2? That would be great. Carlton versus Essendon. The battle of the underachievers. Well, maybe not for Essendon. They've just had a lot of close wins against teams they should have smashed. Carlton, on the other hand, definitely underachieving. Who is going to rise to the occasion? This is going to be very interesting to kind of decide. Carlton versus Essendon. I'm just going to go Carlton. No thought behind it. I just think it's going to happen. But now we move to Melbourne versus Collingwood. And the more I've thought about it, the more I can see a world where Melbourne take this. Their form is looking good. They've beaten some tough teams, especially the Brisbane win. That was fantastic. And they look to be finding their groove again. They do have a little bit of a matchup working in their favour in terms of forwards to backs. Their backline's pretty strong, but they need to be working on all, like, 100% focused, switched on, no lapses, no mistakes. I feel like that's the way they've got to beat this team, because Collingwood can really make you pay at the moment. They are switched on like nothing I've ever seen before. And then you look into the forwards for Melbourne and you see Cozzy is probably the only one that really makes you go, okay, at least their forward has some threat. Bailey Fritsch has just had a really, really rough season. Melksham's had like signs, but nothing to really wow you. And then there are some positive signs with their midfield. Petrarca's been looking good. Oliver's found some, I guess, purpose in his game again. Max Gawn is Max Gawn. I just can't tip against Collingwood. That's my problem. I can't tip against them. It's a Monday clash. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So that is what we're going with for round 13. Sorry to ramble so much about each team, but I just love the footy at the moment. I am in a very good mood, and I'm really hopeful that you guys are too. So thank you so much for tuning in. And that is what I have got for our round 13 preview. Once again, thank you so much for tuning into this one. I really appreciate you guys, as always, jumping into these videos and hopefully leaving some comments and leaving some nice things. Again, thank you for 4K. Really great to see it. Hopefully you all have a successful weekend with your teams. I'm hopeful that my team, the Roos, get themselves a win against West Coast, and I'm really hopeful that my team coach teams get me some prize cuts. I did call out that team star powers. That should get a win, maybe, unless everything folds. But fingers crossed, hope it all goes well. Nonetheless, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We're at 4K, let's try and go higher. As I said in the beginning of the video, let's try and get to 5K. So again, appreciate you all so much for tuning in. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.